Everybody learns here with 30 basic terrain, coming at you with another one. Monsters, giant creatures, whatever. I have actually made I've made a decent amount. Most recently, I made all the oozes. I've made the crystal golems. I've made the rock golems. I've made some worm monsters. I've made some giant mushroom monsters. I've made a baby pede. And I even made a plant monster prior to the channel. This time around, I figured I wanted to try a Demi-Liche. Yeah, I mean, there's really not a whole lot to a Demi-Liche. Matter of fact, I even already own a Demi-Liche miniature from Next Level Miniatures. This one right here. But I actually wanted to try and make one of my own. So I want to show you guys how I got from a pot, just basically a base, some hot glue, and a couple other oddball pieces, how I made this. I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out. And this will suit the table. My players are going to hate me. But before I get to show you how I made this, I want to give a big shout out to my patron members, Dungeon Matron, Corel, Miagate. You guys' support is greatly appreciated, and I cannot thank you enough. All right, guys, let's get to it. Pretty simple. I'm using this skeleton I got from Dollar General in one of their skeleton army packs. And I'm just going to scrape these horrible, horrible mold lines off the skull itself. Now, these skeletons are too big for like regular sized skeletons, maybe an ogre skeleton, or what I'm doing, using pieces of it. I just want the skull, so I'm going to spend time scraping it off and just getting like the neck bones gone, because that area will be completely covered up. I said, just get rid of the mold lines real quick and easy. Now, I need a hole in the back of the head, so get my pin vise, drill a hole approximately the size of what a large paperclip metal diameter would be, and do a little test fit here. And nope, not quite. And that's it. I just need a hole for the paperclip to go into, because I want this skull to float, and also the paperclip is going to help support the initial rounds of hot glue, so I don't have to pile it up. A little dab of super glue gel to the back of the head. Insert the paperclip. And boom, you're done. If you want to use some accelerator, now would be the time. Of course, I want to drill a hole into them. I'm using some MDF bases that I picked up on cheap at a convention. And I just want to get the basic height and shape of the paper clip, bend it into shape. Another dab of super glue. Place it in. I'm going to use accelerator on this just to get it done quicker. And boom, there you go. Now, this initial run, I just want to get a glob of hot glue over top of the paper clip, just so I have to give me something more to build up on, which I'm going to need, because I'm going to use a layering technique where I put layer and layer on. But this is quick and easy. Just try and get it completely covered. Just move it around a little bit so the hot glue just kind of oozes all around. It's not really that hard. And here I'm actually going to start building up bulk. And another thing I'm going to be doing is putting small amounts of hot glue from where the paper clip is covered up to the skull itself, and then just kind of teasing it back with the tip of the glue gun. But right now I'm just trying to build up the bulk of the mystic swirl smoke, whatever you want to call it, holding the skull up. One way to do this is to just do it in layers. Do strands and blobs and whatnot. Let that cool off a little bit, then do another layer. And that way, you'll get more cracks and crevices and more texture. And here I switched to my smaller glue gun. I'm just putting little blobs all over the place. I said, I'm giving it more the model mini itself some visual interest, just to make it pop a little more. I said I'm not a sculptor by far. At best, a noob, but I know enough that it's like if I would just put a plain blob on, it would just kind of ooze all out, and it would make for a boring looking miniature. So, listen, I'm just trying to give it texture, some cracks, crevices. When you put it on the table, you want people to go, "Oh, that's cool." And especially if you're making it yourself, and they go, "Where'd you get that?" And you can say, "I made this." Now die. But no, like I said, put some on, let it cool a bit. Put some on, let it cool a bit. Put some on, let it cool a bit. Don't just try and put it all on at one shot. Now that I've got all the glue on that I want, time to primer this baby up. I'm just going with right now I'm just primer in black, and then I'm going to do some highlights to it real quick. Pretty simple, pretty easy. No spray booth, I know, but I'm doing one model, so I'm not worried about it. And here I'm doing a zenithal highlight with a gray. Pretty simple, pretty quick, pretty easy. Just go at it like from an angle and then just spray it. Don't try and get every crack and crevice. Just give it a good, nice little highlight. And now I'm doing an extreme highlight with some white. And this is all going through my airbrush. Basically, you want to go from the highest angle almost straight up and just get the high points. You just basically Now here I'm actually using some Vallejo Express colors. I'm using a deep purple, and I'm going to mix in Templar white just to tone the boldness of the purple down. Doing an experiment, see how I liked it. It wound up working good. Then I'm basically mixing in, I think it's 3 drops of purple, 2 drops of white, and then 2 drops of, what do you call this stuff? Speed paint medium. Because I want to be a little bit thinned down. I found that I personally liked it when the speed paints and the express colors are thinned down just a little bit. And I'm just going to glob this stuff on. I'm not a miniature painter. Slap chop is my preferred method anymore, and that's essentially what I'm doing with all the highlights, primers, and do the zenithal highlights, and then boom, I'm painting. But I'm painting all the tendrils, smoke, mystic stuff is going with the purple I just mixed up. And I'm taking care to avoid the skull, which I am actually going to be using Citadel's Agrax Earthshade on for the skull itself. It's a quick way to basically get a skull looking like a skull. Now, like I said, I'm just using this Agrax Earthshade for the skull itself. The skull already is primarily white from the zenithal highlighting, and I'm going for a quick tabletop job here. Like I said, I want it to look cool from 3 feet away, not from 2 inches. Now that the shade and the everything else is dry, I'm going to add some highlights. I'm using a light bone color just to pick out certain spots on the skull itself, around the eye sockets, the brows, the forehead, the chin and the teeth, just to make that skull visage pop. You could very well get away with just, white and doing that Agrax Earthshade, and that'll be perfectly acceptable for tabletop, but I just want the little highlights can make it just pop just a tiny bit more. Basically, I'm using a watered down light bone color and then just hitting the spots I want. Now, I wanted to make like the top of the bubbles and different tendrils. I wanted to lighten them up. So I grabbed the Templar white and just basically was running it along the tops of all the different bumps and whatnot on the Mystic Spoke. I wanted to use this Templar white because it has like a really light gray appearance to it, and I almost wanted to give it almost a smoky feel to this. At least that's what I was telling myself in my head when I was doing this. And you guys will see the end results. Like I said, I think it looks good for a tabletop mini, and I'm happy with it. So that's what I'm telling myself. But again, this is just basically putting a little bit of this Templar white on top of all the different little spots. Just like I said, to give it a little bit of a smoky appearance. And for the final step, I'm just using some cheap craft paint to edge the base in black, and there's a few tiny spots around on the top of the base, around where the Mystic Smoke is, that where the hot glue did not cover. So I'm just going to make sure those are all black too. I like edging my bases in black. Why? Honestly, I don't know. I just like doing it. Sometimes I don't need a reason other than I want to. And here's an adventure party going up against a Demi-Liche. Will they make it? I don't know. Maybe there's another one coming up. Who knows? But I think this wound up working really well, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I am really pleased with it. It's going to fit well in a dungeon crawl, or anywhere really. I'm actually really happy with this. Hey everybody, if you made it this far, it means you watched it to the end, and as always, I do appreciate it. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. If you want to see more, click subscribe. I'm going to keep making videos as long as you guys keep watching them. I said, I really enjoyed making this. It was not difficult at all. With a few basic items, you could easily crank one of these out. If you're watching my channel, you probably have a hot glue gun and probably have a skull or two sitting around, so you could definitely get one of these cranked out. Well, as always, guys, I do appreciate you watching, but always remember, when it comes to making monsters or terrain, the only person you got to worry about is you, because it's your terrain.